your first comp was nationals in 09,
Yeah.
and you got 4th in 6x6, which is crazy. But what I thought was hilarious was I dug through the archives of the speed solving forums, and I found your first post, and it was like, "Hi, I'm new. I learned to solve cubes 6 months ago. I average these. I'm not too good at big cubes."
Does it really say that?
Yeah, it said with one O in the word two. You're like, "I'm not too good." And then 2 months later, you almost podiumed at your first competition, which happened to be nationals.
Speed solving forums, dude.
So what happened in those 2 months?
I
And
mean, do you have the post? I'm curious what my
yeah,
time said.
let me send it to you. You said you globaled like 4, like 3. You put like a high 350.
That's accurate at the time. That's what I got. That's what I actually got at finals. What I get 350, I think.
No, like high 330.
No, no, that must have been. I'm pretty sure that was single. Because I got
It
330. It was like
yeah.
Q round. It was like a best of one qualifying round if you didn't have a result. And I got 330 single, and the final I got 350 for 4th place.
Okay, let me send this in the chat.
Yeah. Oh
But
my. I wonder because
public chat. There, I just sent you the speed solving forum post I found. It took a little bit of digging because they don't like posts that old, they don't easily show. But you said 6x6 you were averaging 406 to 420 average
wait, is
on
this
July
still?
4th.
Wait. Is this like? Do the user? Does like my picture? Is that like a timestamp picture? Or is that still my picture?
That picture is what is currently on speed solving forums for you.
That's so funny. All right. Let's see. What do I have? Average. Oh, I think you flicked. My best event is Magic. Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Average like 15 on 3x3. That sounds about right. Not great is 6 and 7. I think it's probably just because like 6 and 7 were terrible. Like they felt the hardware was so bad, and the
Hmm.
VCube 5 was acceptable. Because like also, I mean, I'm looking at these times. 6 and 7 do look a little weak. Maybe I like average 13.2. What is this, like my best times? Or I'm not sure. 13.2 is very fast for the time. I think I got like 15 at the comp. But yeah, I mean, Nats 09 was like, it was such an interesting competition to go for the first one. Like, it was back in the auditorium days because what, 09 and 2010, we did auditoriums at Stanford,
Hmm.
MIT. So, like, it was a different format. Like, if you hadn't competed, you did a
You
qualifying
had qual
round.
rounds. Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
ask about that too because you have like qualification round first, and like I looked at the competition, like how known were you going into the competition?
Oh, 0 and
Okay.
0 going out of the competition as well. I was just some kid. So,
Okay. So like at that point getting near podium in events didn't matter. It was kind of like online thing and the nationals didn't hold that much clout or
yeah, you can look at the times and like I'm 6 months in, I'm getting 4th in 6x6. Like, and it's like obviously it's 17 years later. This is a entirely different landscape. But like, that's just not possible. Even a couple years later, it was so new that like, I mean, like I didn't start early enough to be involved for like Dusseldorf Worlds,
Mhm.
but like I'm right. Like the me, Felix, the Vires, Mott's was like a couple years earlier, so he was technically around for that. But like we came in right after like things started to get a little more legitimized, and like Nats '09 was starting that process, I'd say,
Right.
before like 2011 things were getting really going. And then
Mhm.
so like the importance of like winning these things, it's a national event, so it's the main event. Like it's just hard to, because usually I have, this is pretty funny because like usually I have such like well-formed thoughts about everything because like we don't go back far enough to where like I'm not even aware of what's happening. But like
Yeah.
'09 is like I don't even know what's happening because I'm just some kid. Like everything past like 2011, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I was very in
You
touch
were
with the
very
community.
cognizant of the scene, yeah.
Yeah, so it was, I mean, at the time, it was my first comp. It was just like, this is some new thing. Let's just go and have fun. And I was like, oh, well, I did pretty well in 5 and 6 because I guess 4th and 6th. And then I made 5 final, I was happy about that too.
Mhm. Yeah. Huh. And at that point you were just using stock V cubes, right? Or were you modding stuff at that point?
Stock 5 and 7. The 6 was always obviously the worst, like infamously. I had modded, I think like if I recall correctly, I had modded my cube, like, because my parents I, like, begged my parents to take me to nationals, and we drove down as part of my older sister's college tour. She wanted to go to see some colleges in Southern California, and I just, like, hung out all day, every day, cubing, going on some college tours, and with my sandpaper and VCube 6, like,
Nice.
by hand sand modding a cube, like so I'm pretty sure I modded it on that trip. I would probably with pins. That was a while ago, but, yeah, I had it was stock 5 and 7 and then a modded V6.
That's crazy. And that was just the clicking mechanism, right? That wasn't Florian mod wasn't the thing yet, right?
Oh, no, Florian was 2013 with,
That's what I thought, yeah.
yeah, the SS5 was greatly improved with
Mhm,
maybe it was
mhm.
2012 that was it started he came without with that.
Okay. Wow. That's super cool. So when you started, y you don't think your improvement was insane. You feel like I just practiced my way up at a fast but not ridiculous pace. Cubing was just young enough that I could place that high just because of the competition?
Yeah, it's probably it's hard because there's so little data and the community is
Right.
so new, it's hard to say which one was more of which, like, people weren't taking it that seriously, and so, like, I was not even taking it that seriously, it was just, like, my aptitudes were very it's something that made sense to me, I liked it, I was very focused on it, and so I just kinda, like, spent all my time on it, and there was not much more than that, and then because the community was so new, that was kind of enough at the time. Then also, like, we talk about, like like, I have listened to your stuff, and, like, a lot of people have talked about natural language coaching is the biggest thing now, and, like, the kind of innate stuff that in the early days of, like, the early 2010s, the top keywords were like, "Oh, just do solves," and, like, which was, like, a little disingenuous looking back on it, not in, like, a malicious way, obviously, just in, like, a the what was familiar like, we were doing the right thing without even realizing it, like, all the top
Yeah.
keepers that just did
Yeah.
solves were doing deliberate practice, naturally very focused, and naturally were trying out new things, like, not even thinking about it, like, we'd be terrible coaches, like, we couldn't even tell you why practice was working, but, like, that's what was
Yeah.
happening, and so, like, naturally, that
Walkthrough
kinda
solve
happened.
culture also helped a lot of the things that younger cubers lack now. Walkthrough solves were so common from like early 2010 to like mid like Colin Burns era that a lot of those good habits got picked up naturally and you couldn't quite explain like how they got there. But because you just did so many walkthrough solves and watched so many other people, you kind of just absorbed it as you went.
Yeah, I mean, early YouTube tutorials was very kind of passive learning. Like you just kind of watched and you absorbed. And so it was more dependent on were you maybe in like 2010, could you generate this stuff and you're on the fly by yourself? And then in like 2013 to 17, it's more like, can you just watch someone else do it and then apply it? You don't need to figure it out yourself.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
now, what's much easier is just like, can you have a coach tell you what to do, which is way better and way easier overall if you split the workout.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So at what point did you become serious about cubing? Is there a point that you remember where it was like a turning point from I'm enjoying this to I'm really going to try hard? Or was it kind of a gradient in?
Yeah, there was actually a pretty distinct point. That's 2010 in MIT. I that was the first time I ever broke like my that's the first time ever during practice I got a time faster than the world record.
Mm.
So and then I ended up winning nationals. I was like so jazzed to that comp. It was classic. I got too excited. I did pretty well, but not amazing in the final. I got second, was world rank 2 after that. And then so that was like that kind of kick started like I'm definitely getting world record like at some point. Like it's very doable obviously now. And so it was like a very tangible, like, "We're gonna do this. I really wanna
Mhm.
do this," type of thing.
Okay. Huh. So how'd the practice change after that? Was it just, you know, more motivation? Or did you add more hours on? Or
Practice didn't really change. I mean, it's so early, like, this is 20 it's like
Sure. Yeah,
2010
yeah,
here,
yeah.
like and I'm, like, not that fast. Real everyone is so like, the techniques are so rough. There's so much improvement, like, to be had that, like, you can just, like, burn solves with a decent amount of, like, active thinking, and, like, that was plenty to, like, just okay, we're just it was very natural, like, there was no level of, "I'm forcing myself to do this." It was just like, "This is what I wanna do." It was very
Yeah,
exciting, what I
yeah.
wanted to do all the time, like, practice didn't change for me until 2018, 2019, probably, I'd say.
Hmm. Cool. I was just curious because some of the people I've talked to describe you as a very intimidating person to compete with.
Yeah.
Um, is that intentional?
At sometimes it was, like, it depends on the year. Probably
What do you
early
mean?
on. No, what?
What do you mean? Like, what changes between years?
Oh, like everything changes. Like every world was so different. I mean, I guess at nationals was pretty consistent through the years I was good because like during the main years, like Felix was the competition. So like nationals wasn't, it was mostly me trying to like set a record. Um, it just wasn't as tight at the top. And so it was very, very likely I would win no matter what. But like worlds was very like, I always just, it was kind of natural for me that like, I always took cubing much more intensely than everyone else, especially at the time. And like, even by today's standards, I probably my competitive mindset in the 2010s is probably even by today's standards pretty intense. But it's much more. I'd say it's just on the, like the intense side nowadays. But like everyone in the finals, like in Seattle, is we're pretty serious. Like this is not a game, especially when you're getting like those top five, and you're like experience of the top five in Seattle is very very unique. And all those guys, like even if they're gonna be pretty chill on the outside, like everyone's locked in. Like this is a huge deal. Like whatever way you want to slice it, it's like really important to someone's life. And so during kind of the early years, like probably starting in like 13, and like I was just like really obsessed with like doing well and like proving that um I was the best at specifically 6x6. It was kind of the early start of tying my entire identity into cubing, which ended up not being the healthiest thing, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
as I think a lot of people will have similar stories with. But like in 13, like it kind of like spawned from just I have more experience with like traditional sports as like I swam in high school and college, and like I kind of carried that over of like this was working for me, like having this very like focused and intense mindset, like we're here to win, like this is like I'm not here to like hang out, like we're here to win and
Yeah.
perform.
Yeah.
Was It was working well. It worked well, I'd say, for the years I did really well, and so that kind of like it was natural for me, and it felt like maybe it wasn't the best way. I think I made a video about this. Like maybe it wasn't the best way to compete. Like maybe if I was like a more developed person and could really relax and like understood in a holistic view of cubing in my life and X, Y, and Z, like, but yeah, like, I mean, like I could maybe, we're working on doing that now, but it's 10 years later. And, given who I was at the time and my abilities for like how I was going to focus, like being very intense about things and made sense and it was working. And also, I knew it was also reflective of how important it was to me at the time. So,
So are you talking about this like it's a personal intensity, like at home, all my energy is going into getting better? Or are you talking about this like a I'm going to beat the other people in the room and win kind of intensity?
both for sure. Because I mean, when we're at home, like practicing, like I'm just practicing all day, every day, especially like the 2013 year specifically. I mean, I did very, very bad at Worlds 2011 in Thailand. Pretty normal story, like totally too big of a stage, completely overwhelming for 17-year-old me. Did not, couple things, negatives happened like that were outside of my control, but at the same time, it's like there's no real excuse. It's like I could have totally, like if I was a better competitor and had a better mental, I would have been able to get the results I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
without issue. And so 2013, like I was just grinding all day, every day for like, because there was no way. It was like no matter how fast I was like, we have to do well. Like it doesn't matter how much better we think we are than everyone else. Like it might not be enough. You have to do well.
Right,
And
right,
so
right, right.
yeah, and that competition specifically was very like I wanted to win at all costs. Like we were when I was walking in the door, it was also like I'm here to beat everyone else. Like part of winning is everyone else loses, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, we're here to win. Like so I mean that one obviously went well, and then I'd say that was pretty like that was kind of the mindset in 13 and 17 and kind of 15. Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. Cool. When you there was this point like a few years ago where you kind of made a big to do about like I'm no longer a professional speed cuber. And then all I remember is you continually podiuming at nationals after that. So like, I don't really understand what that was about. Can you explain, like, you said a second ago that you tied your identity very heavily to speed cubing. And also there was like this clear point of you saying, I'm no longer a professional. What did it mean in your mind to be a professional? And what, in theory, was the switch from I'm professional, I'm dedicated, to whatever happened after that?
Yeah, so this is I'll have a long answer on this one. I mean, this is
We have a
very
long time to
yeah,
do the
I
long
could talk,
answer.
like we could take this in a million directions. I could talk for, like, 2 hours on this topic, because I've deservedly gotten a lot of flack for my double retirement, triple whatever you wanna call it. Like, the total BS one 2015 that was totally fake and completely I was like, "Oh, wait, no, I'm not retiring. What do you mean? I love cubing. I'm still, like, gonna try and win." Versus 2019 slash what was it? End of 2019, start of 2022, like, I made a couple posts, both of which were accurate in the sense. I think at the end of 2019, I made a post about kind of my competitive career really being over. And then at the end of 21, being no longer professional.
Yeah,
I think the second one was more of a statement of fact in the sense that my contracts ran out and I didn't renew them. And so
I see.
like I was no longer getting paid to cube. So that was just like the definitive just this is what the status is. And so that kind of
Yeah,
made sense
yeah.
to me. The post 2019 one was very like I guess like to give you kind of some background of like my mental going into the later stages of my career of like so after Paris is very relieving. I was very, very stressed at Paris.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
winning it was Paris was probably peak of like cubing being a negative impact on my mental state where just my entire identity was wrapped up in not only being a cuber or being a good cuber, it was like wrapped up specifically in being the best at 6x6 in the entire world, like very specifically in a very
yeah. And that
yeah,
was age 22, because you said 17, it
s- 23. Yeah.
23. Okay.
See, I'd been out of college for a year at that point. And so like that winning there was, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I was would it like it would have been a different timeline. It would have been a tough one to swallow. I think I got lucky in the sense that you never really it rarely happens where you're ready to no longer be the best and you're able to like tap out on your own terms. That's almost never a thing in sports or
Yeah,
any
yeah,
competitive endeavor. But by the time Australia came around, like I felt good as you could be, but like still ready. Like I practiced for Australia in a way where I said like no one's ever won 4 times in a row in a single event at
yeah, that
World.
was the 4-peat year.
Yeah. And so like I would always regret it. And like, yeah, like Max was faster than me definitively at that time. But like he was theoretically beatable on the right day given the right circumstances. And I mean, it's been a 3 event. Like legitimately anything could happen. Like people have like Max's DNF'd sols before. So like you never know what's gonna happen. But I was like, I don't really my heart's not really in it, but like I feel like I owe it to myself to practice and try because if what if we go and like I didn't really practice and I lose by like Max is terrible and I lose by like 1 second. Like I like always be like, what could have been? And so
Mhm.
that was the first time where like in Paris it was it was kind of a transition over those 2 years. It was nice to be able to like realize the writing is on the wall for the career and like kind of begin the super, super, super long process of like initially coming to terms with like this is over. Like that's like step one of like, okay, this is over. Like I'm not the best anymore. And like having to understand that was difficult in its own right. And then going into Australia, I mean, I got second. Like, I honestly, it was like it went very well. Like, I got second, and I got second in a way that was fun. Like, I won. I got the best solve on solve one by like a ton. Everyone for like 1 second was like, "Whoa, what if it happens?" So that's like, okay, no, Max wins. Like, not surprise result. And so like that, the fact that like nothing disastrous happened in Australia also was nice. And then, like, kinda, like, I went to nationals because, of course, finished up, like, 10 years of doing well at nationals, which was fun, and then I had a really disappointing, my last good 6x6 solve ever, which is somehow still PR, was, like, point 0.2 off world record, which is kinda like And at the time, honestly, it pissed me off. I was like, oh, like my whole thing was like getting crazy random 6x6 singles every few years. And so then it was like, okay, like we're no longer the best. That was the last, like, not only did we lose worlds, totally expected, we also like I'm never getting that. Like that was like so
Right.
crazy in my mind. Like that was the miracle solve on the tail end of your career. And like I messed it up. And that's what happens. And like that's just an indicator of I'm not as good anymore. And so like when I then at the end of 2019, like I made like a post of talking about not taking cubing seriously and like I didn't really honestly, I didn't really know what it was gonna look like going forward. Like I didn't do a session for 2.5 years. I mean, like COVID lined up perfectly with me. I needed to take a break heavily and kind of like reevaluate everything I was doing with my like honestly, like, identity and cubing life, and, like, I mean, people have started talking about this more. I was really impressed with Luke Garrett's video that he put out a couple weeks ago talking about, like I mean, I was really impressed. The kid is what is he, 20, 21?
I think he's
Um,
20. Yeah.
yeah, I'm, like, just, like, literally a full 10 years ahead of me on this topic. I was like, "It'd been nice to be this emotionally aware when I was 21." But, like, I feel lucky in the sense that cubing really having this experience where, like, I did everything I wanted to, and then, like, yeah, I need to adjust to not being the same person I was, and, like, how do I handle, like, my identity coming from somewhere else and my, like, own sense of, like, self-value, and so, having that kind of forced upon me by, I guess, Max, like, was really beneficial, and, like, it worked out really well with COVID where, like, going through a process like that just, like, forces you to be a little more specific about how you approach your life and what you wanna do, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and then, like, as you can, tell now, I mean, like, I'm extremely active in a very different way on the keeping community, and, like, it was nice where I took that 2.5 years off break. Things are coming back. I really didn't focus on anything related to cubing. I moved to Boston. I was focusing a lot more on my social life, kind of my career, what was going on outside of cubing, and then as it came back, um and I went to NAC 22, great comp, but I wasn't it was, like, just first comp back, and then Worlds is always the main thing for me, so, like, Career Worlds was, like Career Worlds is still, like, kind of a weird one for me in the sense that, like, I didn't really know what I was doing with cubing, and I was still decent, I could maybe get third if things went right, but having that experience and then being, like, it was just a couple years of, like, okay, 2019, I fully tapped out. 2022, 2023, we're kind of dipping our toe in what do we want to do? How is this working? And then 24 being on the stream team kind of kicked off everything into 25 cycle, like being really involved in the world's planning, really focused on this. And that was like very clearly like it felt really, really nice to have a role at a competition that was productive for
Hmm.
the community and everyone that wasn't tied to me being really fast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing I really enjoy now. And it's taken like, I'm doing a ton of stuff for, like, WCA right now, and so, like, I'm very excited about that, and, like, I really like, now in the last few months, especially after, like, the post-Worlds, I joined WMCT, I've gotten kind of more situated in my role in the WCA and kind of what I can provide and, like, how things work, what kind of influence I can have, and, like, seeing all that, and so, like, it's been, like, a really long journey to, like, get here, I guess, especially since since Paris, you could really say, like and it's, like, insane. If you talk to me now versus in Paris, you would be surprised to see the same person. I think I've gotten feedback on that before, and so, like, I'm really happy that, like, I can still be involved in this, and it's something that I see like, being productive in my life for the next long time. So, no plans to change anything now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. When did the current career arc start? Because right now you're at Microsoft, right?
Oh, no, I'm at Google, actually.
Google. Okay, it
Been
was
there for
Microsoft. It was the other way. It was
yeah.
Microsoft and then Google. When did that start? Because you said you moved to Boston. Was the Boston move for Google or for Microsoft?
Oh, yeah, so I was at Google until COVID started, and then I moved to Boston in 2021. It was for the Google job, so that
Okay.
was yeah, and that was coming up on 5 years this summer, so
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So when you said you started focusing on career, that was like when you made the job move, and so it kind of all happened at once.
yeah, I guess, like, it was kinda just like job, what nothing. There's not like one really big specific thing. It was more just like I just kind of I needed to disassociate from cubing and like I was too far in. Like really just my even though like the rest of my life was going objectively quite well and I look back on it and I'm like, wow, I had such like things were already going so well and I was very grateful that I had that setup. Like I was so deep from just like the mid 2010s days of like keeping my entire identity. If I don't do well, like what's the point? Like I feel like there's so much pressure even if it doesn't exist. Like I just needed to take a step back and so that was just not there like yeah, it wasn't one specific thing, but just really I mean, like, it worked well. I moved to Boston, started doing things more to progress my personal life and, like, realizing a lot more about, like, kinda being deliberate about what do I want out of my life going forward, what I want from just my hobbies and my friends, and cubing was, like, a big part of that, like, I developed the skills to, like, be a healthy member, like, have cubing be a healthy part of my life during that switch to Boston, and then, like, they were pretty actively like, I had to fully, like, come back, like, reset, and then as I'm coming back to cubing, I'm, like, kind of aware of how to do this, but I'm figuring it out, and then the last couple years like, the last 2 years have been, like, huge of, like we've been on a pretty steady, like, upstream of, like things are, like I have there's, like, a lot of purpose and, like, I feel very, like it feels rewarding to, like, do these
Mhm.
competitions, especially Worlds and All-Stars in the fall were, like, very I had her like, they were like, it was I'd say I'd still probably say Vegas was my favorite Worlds, but Seattle was the most rewarding one in the sense of, like, I saw what a show we put on for everyone, for the crowd and the competitors, and I thought it was just really nice to be able to, like, give that experience to everyone.
Yeah. Hmm. Can you explain more of what the role is that you're taking on now and why it's fulfilling to you? You're kind of dancing around it, and I would love to hear more about it.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't intending to, but, like, so I guess I have 2 official roles, one I've and a second half one that I've kind of, like, anointed myself with, because I think I need to. But, first I'm on Keeping USA, so that was the jump, in 2024 in NAC, I was just on the stream team, I ended up helping organize some scheduling and stuff. Officially joined for Worlds 2025, doing the stream, handling the stream, working the production team, organizing commentary, also just handling all the production value for finals, like coordinating walkouts, what we're going to say, where like the cadence of everything, the timing, all that jazz. In addition, just general organizer input. There's a lot of value in just having someone of like a lot of these small things that like there's a lot of small decisions that from an organizer's perspective, like doesn't really matter which one you pick. You just got to pick one, but it makes a big difference to like the competitor. And so having
Yeah.
someone who understands that difference is a big thing. Um, so that was last year. Still on the team this year. Still no plans to change. Going to be on Keeping USA going forward. And then now I'm on WMCT, the WCA Major Championships team. Um, Working a lot with them. Kind of like this is something I'm curious about going forward. Of like, what is the scope of majors in the WCA? What is our goal with hosting them? What do we want our like every 2 year? What do we want our cycle of majors to look like? Who do we want? Like, how do we want to? What are you prioritizing? What type of competition are we handling? What are we rewarding? And so that's like an ongoing thing, which I don't even have a good answer for, but that's another part there. And then also like a big thing, this is probably the more those are things that all like I love doing and I'm excited about and I love being on the stream team and I'm working on the graphics package for WCA right now. I think the last thing, which is the thing that's the most rewarding, that's kind of part of all of this, but like isn't on like not a real there's no like defined thing for it right now is like I view myself as like the top competitive representative on the organizing side. Um, I think mostly from a necessity aspect where I look around on WCA admin, and I don't really see a lot of people that have I mean, there's not like it makes not in a negative way at all. It makes a lot of sense where like the number everyone who's competing now at a super high level has this intensity and seriousness and like cubing is like my life. And so but because that's like a reflection of the community now and how big cubing
Mhm.
is, but like if you want someone on the administrative side, you need someone who like has that experience. You need someone who's lived that previously and then has kind of grown up and wants
Right,
to grow into
right.
that.
Like empathy, but also the operational dedication to make it happen well.
Right. And like there's just like not a lot of people that were that serious about it in the mid 2010s. Like I don't think I mean Sebastian as a kid, Felix got married like 2 weekends ago. Like I'm don't know, like there's a lot of people that are doing like a great job, but like I just didn't see a lot of like personal knowledge in there. And that was something that when I was competing, sometimes I really felt like no one really understood like my experience at the level. Like it didn't feel like my experience was like validated based on kind of how some things were run at times and like not in a way, usually not in a way that was anyone's fault. It was just kind of like, yeah, how would they possibly know? No one
Right,
understands. Like this
right.
is a new thing. Like and so now when like I'm making decisions and stuff, like I can I value heavily like the competitive experience of these like I want to make sure that like we give them the spectacle and the stage that they deserve while also when we ask things of them it's like for the betterment there's like a real reason or the betterment of the community or the stream or getting like making cubing growing better as a whole and like I would never like when I guess I don't have a specific example off the top of my head, but like if I'm saying like we're gonna try and do this, like we're gonna run finals in this way that maybe is like not quite as much what you're used to, and like you can trust that like I have thought about what the downside is. Like there is a trade off to everything, and like you can trust that I know it, and like I've evaluated it, and like I am acting on the competitor's behalf of like this is what you need to deal with in order for this to be a more
Mhm.
professional environment and a bigger thing, and so like just I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that, and that's extremely rewarding, and, like, it's something
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
like, I see myself, like, in a lot of these kids where I'm like, I wanna make sure that, like, they have every opportunity to, like, compete to the best of their abilities and to showcase their skill because they work so hard for it.
Okay. Hmm. So I'll ask a very specific question then and see how you respond to it based on
I'll
what you
go
just
for
said.
it.
Um, in a major final, do you think it should be region locked or open to anybody who gets to the final, both in order and admittance, and why?
Wait, order and admittance?
So if you're at North American Championship final
Yeah,
and people from another continent compete and they make the final, what
yeah.
order should they line up in to compete? How do you consider the results if it's a continental championship, but international people are there and getting into the final?
Oh, this is a great question, and something I just have talked a lot about, with some WMCT staff or volunteers. There's not like, there just isn't a good answer. Like, you're not gonna get a perfect answer on this, and, like, it's very dependent on the priorities as an organizer, and so I'll go into more my ideas as well in a second, but, like, there's this is, like, a subset of a lot of questions that people have in the WCA of priorities and stuff, and, like, how should things be run, and, like, the first step I always say is, like, you need to understand, like, at the base level what the problem is here, and, like, the problem is that traditionally, these large summer majors serve multiple purposes. Like, I'll just use NAC or US Nationals, for example. Like, NAC is NAC Open and it's NAC Championship. And actually this year it's US Nationals. And so like
Mhm.
and also it's the convention for like it's the North American Cuban Convention. Like it's all three in one building. And so you cannot serve all three of those to 100%. It's not possible. Like it just cannot be done because you look at any traditional sport, like allowing foreigners at your national championship is extremely rare and there it comes with caveats for example, everyone probably gets if you listen to my stuff gets annoyed. Kevin always makes analogies to swimming, but it's pretty similar. It's a time-based individual sport and I think swimming and track are actually
It's
really
like low key the most direct comparison of a physical sport that there is to cubing.
or athletics, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We generated or Tim Reynolds was the mastermind behind the world schedule because he was watching the Olympics and he's like, wait, this is a good idea. And then everyone was like, wait, this is a good idea. Um, but yeah, so like US Nationals closed event, you have to be a US citizen or registered as a US competitor. But like the US is very like predominant swimming community. They run like an open pro series every year. They have US nationals. They have a separate trials event for their international meets. They have US Open in at a couple of different times. So there's like a ton of open events. And then they also have these closed events. They have the
Mhm.
resources for it. There's demand for it. Canadian swimming, on the other hand, actually, I just looked this up. Um, I don't know if they do this every year or what year, but this year I did check their their trials meet for their international team is Canadian nationals. It is their trials meet, and it's also Canadian Open. So, like, if you're a foreigner, you can compete at Canadian trials, but swimming finals, it's like the top 8 are in the A final, the next 8 are in the B final, and then you could maybe have C
Yeah.
or D finals. Foreigners are not allowed in the A final. Even if you were the fastest person there, you compete in the B final because the main priority of the meet is to identify swimmers that are the national champion and to select the international team. And having someone that's not in that competition in the main final, it changes the results in a way that's
Yes.
not fair.
Yes.
So to relate that to cubing, like I kinda there's a couple I need to talk more to, like I need more feedback from a lot of the competitors, but from what I see from the community and my experience was that the regional title was always heavily, heavily valued amongst competitors, and, like, you can see this even if people don't say it, just based on how people react when they're at their own major versus they're at a different major, or, like, how people's results are. There's so much less stress at, like, a foreign major than when you're trying to win your own title, and so, like and also, like, it's pretty ubiquitous that kids are always talking about, "Oh, I got school record, I got state record, I got, like, PNW record, I got" like, you can just kinda pick this up over time and, like, before making more concrete decisions on it, I'd like to formally get some more, like, feedback for sure, but, like, I think the community and the competitors themselves really value the championship aspect, and, like, there's a reason kind of the majors are built around this, like, there's state champs, there's, like, regional champs in a lot of countries, like it's because cubers love the incremental achievement, having some level of like tangible title. And so I generally fall into the camp of prioritizing the regional championship more than the open aspect of the competition. I've made comment on this, like I've been thinking about this for like a decade. Like actually, yeah. Oh my God, I'm so old. Euros 2016 was like 10 years ago. The one I went to Euros 2016. It was like the big international one of that year. A bunch of people went. Felix and I went. Felix and I got 1, 2, and 5 and 6. Uh, no recognition on the award ceremony, no nothing. I was like, "Yeah, cool." Like, no problem. Like, I don't know, it just seemed like it made sense. Like, maybe this is something that people that have more traditional sports background naturally understand, but I'm like, it's the European champs, and I'm not European. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
it's nice that I
Yeah.
can here. Like, cool. I
I
was
can
like
see what you mean, where if you have the context to unbundle what happens into convention, open, regional championship like you just did, and in your mind you're sorting those three and going, I can still enjoy these two, and it's okay that I'm not the regional champion. Like, you're okay with that. But to somebody who knows knack is knack and they can't unbundle it, violating any of those three things feels like you're killing the sacred cow of the event. Oh no, we lost our whatever. So I see your argument, and I also see the argument for somebody who is very who's change averse or doesn't have that same context. And so to them, like, the thing that exists right now is its own unique thing. And if you change the current way that it's set up, you have changed the formula of what makes a major, which I also see that argument super strongly. Like, the year you went to Euros in 16, that was back when there was like a major a year that everybody decided to go to. And so then it wasn't only a regional, it was also the open that everybody was competing at. So it had to serve both. So I definitely see both arguments.
I mean, I think Euros is still like the open of
Yes.
like it's Euros at NAC for like the ones that most people are going to travel to. Like it's I mean it like you said, like the existence of knack, like people when people see it as like something changing, I agree with that. But also like kind of the thing we've landed on right now is relatively arbitrary, and so I'd like to not. I want to like things that we're doing. A lot of things are the way they are because they're the way they are. Sometimes that's fine. Sometimes the way they are, when you think about it, is the appropriate way to do it. But like,
Hmm.
I want to have like the regional thing is actually more, I think, part of a larger discussion of like what is the point of the full circuit of majors of worlds every 2 years and continentals every other year. Like what I can see for sure, especially when people talk about having focusing more on the open side, is like we want to see the best in the world compete against each other. And I we'd absolutely need more of that, like unequivocally. Like once every 2 years is like nothing at
Yeah,
this.
if that's your goal, that's nothing.
Oh, it's absolutely nothing. And like there's more demand for that for sure. And like I mean, like you're someone actually you're like a good example here where like you're a serious competitor. Like you're kind of taking part out of like you're a serious competitor and you're taking part of the convention aspect and the competition aspect, but like whether or not the final is region locked probably more affects you as a spectator, but you're very invested. Like, how do you see this?
Um, what's my opinion on the question I asked you?
Yeah, basically.
Hmm. I think that the only way to substantially improve this problem is to allow organizations outside the WCA to hold events that have the same clout within the community as a major. Because I don't see the WCA implementing large scale competitions that have the spectator friendly events and style quickly enough to meet the demand for lots of high caliber competition. So the amount of growth that we see in China of cubing is partly because of the government, partly because of cultural aspects of family honor and what parents are going to push their kids in, and also money bouncing around factories, which also changes hands with the government. It's a whole bunch of things, right? But they have gazillions of organizations other than the WCA that are all putting competitions on, and every competition holds a different purpose. There are competitions that are beginner focused. There are competitions that are experienced people focused. There are sporting circuit competitions. There are time trial competitions, and different organizations end up carving out little niches. Golf is an interesting parallel here because even though there are governing bodies that keep tallies of a whole season, there are also tournament organizers who can kind of submit to the governing body, and then they all have their own little flavor. So if you want to see esports does this as well, especially in like fighting game esports, where tournament organizers will all hold tournaments that the best in the world will like selectively go to because this one is a big one, this one's a medium one. But then there's some governing body that like tallies points and has a ranking at the end of the season. That happens in golf, that happens in fighting games, right? So what I would like to see is allowance of more leagues or small competitive formats. Like right now we have PSL, we have Monkey League. I can't think of too many others that exist in the West right now, but have like 2 or 3 more things like that. Have some sort of like relationship between those people and the WCA so that they can exist and they can do their thing. Like the WCA and then don't have to merge and they don't have to compete. Like the PSL can run its thing and Monkey League can run its thing. And I don't know the politics involved in connecting this, but how cool would it be to have like an internal WCA ranking that like compiles all that? Then you get these competitions that global skill level competitors are incentivized to go to because they want to showcase their skills and they want to make their sponsors happy. And then the WCA does its set of record keeping and high level competitive events well. And if competitors want clout, they can go to an event where there'll be clout because they're going to beat someone else and the results still get officially recorded. That's what I see as the solution. And then keep the WCA for large scale opens or regionals, which I like the system we have for that already.
I'm trying to think a little bit. This is interesting because like there's I'm trying. There's like one main thing that I'm thinking about is that like all because I follow a lot of fighting games pretty well, not a lot. I follow Melee, which is exactly as you described.
Yeah, Melee is a great example. They have different tournaments that different competitors will voluntarily opt in to go to because the tournament gets more viewership and then they get to compete against other people and it flywheels at the big tournaments. And
Yeah.
then whatever the Lumi rank or the Panda rank or whatever the one is in the middle that's counting everything, that's the definitive who's good, who's bad. But then each tournament can fend for itself. And there are giant cons to that system. But overall, it gives a lot more optionality to the viewer and to the competitor for what they're going to do.
Yeah. I well, okay, I'm like a lot of thoughts, I guess. One, my first thing is that always this is the thing that I always get. I always take my own like thought when I compare to fighting games. I always take this comparison with a grain of salt because there's no way to determine how good you are at a fighting game without having an opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's different than cubing in the sense that, like, there is a universal way, like, it's a time-based event,
Mhm.
it's a
Yeah,
race.
yeah.
So, when you this is the thing that's a problem in, like, swimming and track as well, or any, like, raw time-based sport that's, like, very uniform, or, like, a 100-meter dash is a 100-meter dash wherever you hold it. Like,
Yes.
it it becomes difficult to generate a circuit like this because of how repetitive it is. Like
Yeah.
like, tennis is another example where, like, they have a straight up open circuit, like, there's, like, the Grand Slams, and then I don't okay, I'm not as familiar with tennis, but, like, a lot of these examples where occurs is, like, it's all, like,
It's purely match-based.
it's match based, and, like, even F1, which is technically timed, it's, like, not, because they're not running time trials out there, they're, like, who the other cars have a huge effect on the race, and so when your skill is, like, dynamic and based off of another person's ability to defend and, like, to interact with you, like, it changes how you can run these things, and, like, I do see a large need, like, for sure, like, at a high level, I agree a lot with, like, we need more events of, like, I think there's a little bit of restriction involved with, like, forcing everything to be run exactly the same way under, like, a too strict a governing set of rules where, like, is it that big of a deal if there's, like, a bunch of other stuff that's, like, kind of random and, like, experimental going on? Like, no, I don't really think so. Like, I think there's a weird also, like, because we're so far and there's this weird there's, like, a little bit too much of, like, an over obsession with, like, the only thing I care about is getting a single good average of 5, so my world rank can be this. It's like, okay, like, no matter how you slice it with, like, any of the governing independent of any governing body politics is, like, that's a little weird. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think it's the best way to be determining who's good. Like, I don't think the default ranking page should be listing best time ever. Like, we should have that, but the default ranking probably should be something a little different, representative of, like, current skill of the season or something. Like, I don't know. There's just a lot of ways to think about it. But
Right.
yeah, I agree with the sense that, like, we need more.
Yeah,
There's
so my thing is less about I want the format of finals to change and more about I want there to be more of them.
yeah, we need more events. For sure, we this is 100%. Like, we need more events where the best competitors get together and compete. And I don't think, well, it's definitely not possible to replicate what, like, China is doing because, like, first of
Not at
all,
all.
it's a much smaller region. They have government support. It's like cubing is treated as like chess, as it's seen as like a way for you to put your
It's a
kids in class.
completely different thing, yes.
It's not even the similar. And so, like, so much more money. It's like it's different, but, like, cubing in the West is big enough, and, like, we're not taking full advantage of the popularity and, like, the opportunity. And so, I see wheels in motion to try and start doing that. But yeah, it's something that I'd like to see more of.
Yeah. Like, I don't have anything really a problem with the current format because I like seeing all the competitors in an open format, in an open final. I like that nationals and NAC honor the people who win. I don't understand why it's so hard to be a US national champion. Like, why, like, the blending of NAC and Nats kind of bugs me, but I don't have a great solution other than do more. So I don't know. Like, it's the arrangement of finals is minor in comparison to having more events, but that is downstream from having more money sloshing around the scene, so that there's incentive for some human to invest time to make the event good. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tricky.
I mean, I think the first thing that could help a lot, well, just not, it's like one thing, but, like, we need another worldwide event. Like, there's only one every 2 years. We got to have another one. Like,
Yeah,
there's,
yeah,
like, in terms of things that are like a concrete, like, there's definitely demand. People will go. We need a second one. But I think that might be potential in the next, we'll see, years or something like that. But
okay. You heard it here first,
no
folks.
promise. Something
We'll
that I
see
would
what
like to see
happens.
for sure.
We'll see what happens with that one. Yeah. How do you think about the streams and the competitions as far as who the intended audience is? So we've mentioned fighting games, we've mentioned swimming already. Um, when you're making a cubing stream, do you think the ideal final audience is people who are hardcore cubers, casual cubers, or non-cubers? If you think about other things, let's take Smash Melee, because we both mentioned it, we both are
Yeah.
familiar with it. Melee is weird because there's a super hardcore community, that's like really hardcore. And then there's a ton of people, like probably you and I, who are not good at the game by that standard, but
Hey,
we still
I got like
enjoy
silver
watching
3
it.
on Flippy.
Oh, okay. There you go. So actually, you're pretty
Terrible.
good.
No, I'm not.
Hey, being above the bottom
Hey,
is impressive.
I almost went 1 and 2 at, Don't Park in the Grass. It was game 3 last stock, and I suicided on accident.
There you go. There you go. Like, it's really hard, right, to get above the absolute bottom of Melee.
Yeah.
But there's a very large community of, like, casual Melee enjoyers who are not dedicating their lives to getting good at the thing, but they still enjoy, like, consuming it.
Yeah.
Um, we really don't have that in cubing viewership. The people who watch cubing are active cubers. Like, they have a cube in their hands every day, pretty much. Do you think that should change, and to what degree?
Yeah, so good question. First, we should not be catering specifically to, like, the diehards. I mean, I guess when I hear, like, diehards, I'm thinking, like well, it's funny because 'cause I'll talk to, like, Sebastian or something, and he's like, "Oh, like, that wasn't just right on the stream," and I'm like, "Yeah, Sebastian, you're, like, the only person in the world that knows that." So, like, I'm sorry, like, it's a little more important for it to sound good in general and get one really advanced thing wrong. I mean, obviously, we wanna get things right, and, like, it's important to do that, but we are also limited by the knowledge we have in the commentary booth and all sorts of other things. But beyond that, because that's like a kind of niche example, like even then, like it needs to be obviously like for the top, like the super diehards in a sense that like it's entertaining, it makes sense, like it's something they want to watch. But as we're kind of growing our base, like I think you're right, and this definitely right, where like we have this large group of very dedicated cubers who are going to watch no matter what. Like, how do we grow to like get a lot of people to tune in just for like okay, like 10,000 more people watch the Worthy Finals than the rest of the World Championship stream. And so, like, there is like a level of people, those are the type of people who like kind of invested, you know, they'll pop in, like, but like, how do we make that number bigger? How do we get that 10,000 to know maybe, oh, you should
Right.
watch every night during finals? Like, these people aren't going to watch 40 hours of content over the weekend. That's not a realistic thing to ask anyone to do unless you're super diehard. But like,
Mhm.
I want to make sure the stream is like if you're just like an average Joe to sports bar, like you're not going to start following cubing. Like
Yeah,
let's be
yeah.
realistic here. Like, but it's a similar overlap. A lot of people that watch fighting games, that watch speed running, watch video games online, like watch streaming in general, like they're a great target audience. A lot of kids who like naturally kind of, oh, if they're picking between their hobbies and they have a lot of hobbies that are a lot of similar aptitudes. And they picked this one, they picked speed running, but like, oh, like they could do cubing too. And they could do both for sure. It'd be fun to have them do both. Like
Mhm.
having it be digestible of like, okay, oh, I'm turning this on and like I already like Twitch and I watch some speed running and some fighting
Yeah.
games. Like, oh, this is
Yeah. The
interesting.
solution is just to get Ludwig invested in speed cubing, I think.
Yeah. We could just get
Like,
like, one of the top streamers in the world to just start
but
racing.
seriously, if Ludwig got into speed cubing, that would solve so many of our issues because he has the event know-how. He has the connections across all these adjacent hobbies that you just mentioned. And he's super entertaining. Like, cubing does not have an entertainer
No.
anywhere, really.
I mean,
That won't happen, probably, but that'd be super cool.
I see people getting more regular streamers and stuff. So like, but yeah, it's pretty small potatoes right now. Like I'd like to see some of this stuff. I mean, like, I'm assuming you've watched a decent amount of like the world stuff and maybe All Stars. Like, what
Oh,
was
yeah,
your
I watched
kind of,
all of it.
okay, yeah, what was your takeaway from like the commentary at these types of events and like, or like how it was
It
presented?
was phenomenally boring until the finals. There were a handful of people who I really enjoyed. Felix was an absolute highlight for me. And Felix was a highlight for my wife. That's the thing that got me, is
Felix
because
is,
my
Felix is
wife
so good.
my wife knew nothing about cubing at this point, okay? Like, zippo. And Felix, she was like, "This guy is good." And I was like, "Yeah, well, he's also, like, former world champion, blah, blah, blah." And it was like, he communicated in such a way that was, like, nice for somebody who did not understand the intricacies of the hobby. But I loved him so much because he both was, like, genuinely excited and pleasant to listen to, made really incisive, specific commentary, but also kept it broad. There were a few people who I was like, he's striking a good balance there. But on the whole, like, I was kind of bored with the commentary, and I was so invested. Like, I had All Stars up like most of the weekend. Um, but it was like, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite thing ever because it was kind of like it all felt the same. Like at any given time, I could be listening to the commentators and they'd be saying something about a lockup, something about BPA, something about like the questions they would ask the person had something to do with like thanking my parents and how did you feel on Solve 4. Like it all felt this, it all blurred together for me. So that's how I felt. Do I have a solution to offer you? No, which is why I don't complain publicly about it all the time. Like that's my answer. Um, it's hard to make better though, because you have to do human interest stories and you have to get commentators who are entertaining when nothing interesting is happening. You have to have a whole bunch of extra statistical research and visual displays and stuff that like it's very hard to do well.
No, I mean, you're completely right. Like, I guess also just to confirm, like, Felix, you were talking about throughout the finals at Worlds, right?
Yes, that one. The three finals at Worlds. He wasn't on the All Stars the All Stars commentary.
Felix,
Um,
Felix is so good. Oh my god, like, I like listen to it. And I'm like, it's like Felix is not really good at 3x3 commentary because he's double world champion. Like, he is really good at 3x3 commentary, and then he's also double world champion, which then like emphasizes that. It gives him more credibility. It makes like, but like even if he wasn't, he would be really good at commentary
yes.
anyways.
Yep.
And so like it's the combo of the two. Like you can't just stick someone like who's really fast in the commentary booth and expect them to know what to do.
Correct.
It's not that's not how it works at all. And then like you saying like the finals for the other events were interesting? Is that what you implying?
Some of
Or
them were. Um, there there were a few interesting moments. I really remember you in the 4x4 final at Worlds commentating Sebastian because you were like because you brought out a human. You brought out something that was not Cube,
I thought
right?
he was
You
gonna lose. I was like I was down
But
bad.
you were invested in the human story, right? You were
Yeah,
there like, Sebastian, that's my guy. And he has a kid and he's doing it for the old guys. And you were like so excited about the person. And then
yeah,
when the person had a triumphant moment, it was like, I'm excited about that. Like, I'm a very hardcore cuber and I don't care how many parodies you skip in a 4x4 final, but that got
yeah.
me invested.
Yeah, this is I agree, like, you're also like, your comments about this are pretty valid, and, like, there's, like, multiple things that are hard, like I guess I'll just go quickly because like, it's like you're right, and, like, in the round ones, we try and add a lot of interviews because that's more interesting than, like, watching Yihang get another 4.8 average, like, okay, whatever, it's the same thing. Like or especially, like, watching, like, someone decent get, like, a 5.5 average, it's like, okay, really the same thing, and, like, maybe Yihang's always interesting, but like, there's a level of, like, interview preparedness that helps a lot with this, and then also a slight thing of, like, a lot of the top competitors are very young, and so
Mhm.
therefore,
Oh, that's
they're
so hard. Yeah,
they give
it's
yeah,
super difficult.
younger kids just give less interesting interviews. Like, this is just, like, a thing. Like, I love talking to Schwan on stream, like, he is, like, so much first of all, very different perspective. Like, his entirely you get a very much unique stuff, like, getting people, talking about different stuff, and so I wanna have even more of a breadth of interviews from the community, especially with people that are in different roles. But and then, yeah, commentary in general just, like, is hard because as a group, I think, or just like a community, there's not a lot of experience, and so
Mhm.
you need people to get a lot better, and then it's not that exciting to want to, like, research this stuff over and over again, and, like, it's easy I know everything about 4 to 7 because like, I've just been following it for 15 years. So,
Yeah.
like, it's been passive and fun, but, like, yeah, this is it's nice to have the problem where the problem is hard to solve because it requires a lot of effort. That means at least, like, we're getting the baseline
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
point where we're happy with. So but yeah, I understand what you're saying, and, like, I think you're accurate, and we're working
Yeah,
on
like,
it.
please understand, this is coming from somebody who loyally watches every major cubing stream, who wakes up to watch live streams of Monkey League at, like, 2 a.m. my time. Like, I am a hardcore viewer. I'm not saying this because I don't want to consume the viewing experience. I love it. Um, I'm saying these things because I love it so much that I want it to be, like, super, super good.
Oh, no,
Uh,
I understand completely. I appreciate it. Like, we need more, like I mean, I'll turn on the world stream and it's like, I love the world stream. It, like, came out better than expected. I think it looked so good, but I'm instantly like, "Oh, should have done that, should have done that. I'm like instantly
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
tearing it apart. Like these aren't like they weren't mistakes. It's just like so many things that can be done better. And
Yeah,
this
exactly.
exists for, I mean, like this exists until you're sitting in the NFL broadcast room with 500 people on staff running a production. So
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, there's a bunch of other stuff that I would love to talk about, but it's been a little while already. I want to be respectful of your time. How
I
much
got time.
longer?
I got time. I
Okay,
got
cool. But we haven't talked about like big cubes proper at all, right?
oh, thank you.
It's all been meta. Like we haven't talked about specifics yet.
Well, I mean, my life is meta now. Like this is I have like I mean, yeah, go ahead, ask away. I'm not as
Well, okay. I want to talk about like older stuff though. It's okay if it's not what you currently do.
oh
My
for sure.
first question is why did you stick with Redux for so long? And what do you remember what made you finally switch to Yao on 4x4? And then also on bigger cubes. But like 4x4, I feel like you were on Redux for like way too long.
First of all, I'm impressed with your knowledge. Like that's correct, but also from 2013. So like wow, good job. Uh, yeah, no, I switched the Yao on 4x4 after Vegas Worlds, which was well behind the times. Um, honestly, everything you could answer all of the mistakes from my main career as like the reason is just hubris. Like I just didn't want to. I'm like, I could probably get away with it. And like, yeah, do I really need to learn that? Like, I didn't think of it myself. I don't want to learn that. Like, I mean, it was like I'm just behind the times for sure. Like, I also, I mean, for 4x4 at least, like, it wasn't really that big of a priority. Like, by the time
Okay,
13
yeah.
rolled around, like, there was no way. And in 13, it was already, I had to check my history, but I'm pretty sure it was already what? It was already Felix Sebastian. It was Felix Sebastian Motz, and then Costello was coming around like right after. So there was no. I was like putting any effort into 4x4 made no sense when I was like trying to win worlds and other events. Why would I put
Yeah.
effort to
Yep.
maybe
Yep.
get fifth, like instead of seventh? Like that's not a good use of time. So that one was just late. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of these things, like that one is like half just like I was lazy and half like arrogance. Although it's 4 4, so maybe I don't really know in that one. But a lot of the other things were like, I don't need to learn that. But then, like, as sitting here now, I'm like, probably should have learned these things a long time ago.
Yeah. What do you use for 5 through 7 now? I feel like I've seen you do Yao on all of them. I'm pretty sure you're on Redux for 7. I
Yeah, do
don't know
you?
about 6.
Yeah, Yao on 5 and 6, and then I still do Redux on 7.
And do you do the Yao 5 variant where you solve edges into like the F12ers into the back?
No,
No?
does
Okay.
anyone do
Just
that?
I don't think so. When I first learned, that was when I think Jaden McNeil was like, this is the way to do it at the time. This is like a very limited window. Like, so I first learned with that, and then I was like, this is dumb. Why am I doing this? But I don't think anyone does that still.
Yeah, I don't actually think. Yeah, I don't know anyone, but Yao
Why?
knowledge.
When did Yao first start becoming something that people were interested in? I've only ever done big cubes with Yao. I learned big cubes probably, goodness, 7 years ago. So like 2018. And I just went straight to Yao because I was like, I just want to have the same thing for all of them.
Yeah,
Was my kid mindset. It was not like objectively the best thing to do at the time, I think. Um, all I know is like, is it Kiaran
I think
or
it's Kieran.
Chiaran? Kieran. Okay, he's been doing Yao since the dawn of time. But like, when did it start becoming mainstream and why? I still don't quite understand how the top solvers decide other than Yao feels nicer is the only answer I've been able to get from people.
Yeah, that's a good question because this is the main debate of ever. And yeah, credit to Kieran because he's the Yao OG. He's been doing it since day one. He was the first person good at it. Like he's like the only actually good person before COVID doing Yao. Like because now I'm switched after COVID. And so I don't who really got going. I think it's just like because there were no like, it was the big cubers coming up after COVID because it wasn't even not nom switched, but, like, it was just that new gen of, like, the current, like, people ranked, like, 2 through 10 all, like, weren't good. Well, like, they were pretty good, but, like, they weren't, like, like, absolute crushers before COVID, and then they were using Yao, and then they finally got good at it. So, like, I don't think there was, like there's only a few instances where people switched because everyone else just kind of like stopped cubing, and then the new crop like was just doing Meow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do with hardware, actually. Like sneakily hardware, like you can't do Yao on like a V6. Like
That's
it'd
true
be
because it's just too
grueling.
hot, too many moves. Yeah.
It's just grueling. I mean, yeah, you probably could, but like I think it's just not even the trade-offs of the turning restrictions are worse the worse your cube is and stuff. And so like that, and then it's just the natural, like people come up with it, like it's proven to be pretty decent. And so if you're a casual big cuber, I'll just do some Yao. It seems it's easier to it's a little more fun-ish in a sense, maybe like it's not as hard. Like you don't like it's this the structure is so much more cleaner. Like you build your first two centers, you know exactly what you're going for. There's less options, and that inherently makes it worse if you're a computer and better if you're a human. Where like Redux, if you're a computer and you can see every single edge in the cube and you can pick, like there's always an easy one. The problem is finding it.
Yeah.
And so this is what makes Max so good at this is that somehow he always finds it. Like it's ridiculous, his like edge selection. And so I think like for me personally, like my like even when I was like cooking with Redux in those rare days where you get in that like god tier mindset and I'm like my vision is so good, like it like it like tricked me because I'm like, oh, I can average like 113 on Redux. It's so doable. Like I felt like it for like 30 minutes. And that's like, okay, no, but you actually can't. And when you get into a competition, you definitely can't because
Definitely
then
can't. Yeah.
like with Yao, it's like it's so much more structured. I think the variance might be a little bit lower, um, but I'm not really sure. And like, it just the structure, it makes it easier to like progress. It's a little more interesting in the sense that like you're not just constantly in these like weird. If you're a little bit off mentally, it doesn't like explode your brain.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
still can burn through turns. Like if you're in a bad mental state and you're burning turns on Redux, your time is going to be way worse relatively than if you're just burning turns on Yao because you just totally lost it.
Hmm.
Um, so I think it's a combination of those two things, and then like I think I think for 7x7, like Yao is desirable just because people do it on 5 and 6, and then it makes sense just to do the same thing on 7. But
Got it.
I'm really not sold on Yao being better on 7.
Yeah.
So
I've talked to a few people who did it and switched back because they were like, it just wasn't worth it by
oh,
the end of it on 7.
I mean, this is what I always say. I mean, I see everyone work so hard on their 7x7 Yao, and then they lose to Max on a bad day. Like it's like, and then Max just destroys them with no effort.
I don't know if that's their fault though. Max is just so good at 7x7.
Yeah, but like he's probably similarly good at 6, and like I can see people do 6, yeah, and be like, okay, like we're in the same ballpark. But on 7, I'm like, I've not seen any evidence that like Max will be overtaken by anyone currently going. Well, 7, it just seems so much harder.
How who do you think for top 3 at NAC this year? Who's in contention?
Yeah, so is Henry signed up? He told me he probably wasn't going, which is a bummer. But well, Max is gonna win 5, 6, 7, unless probably. Okay, so my I mean, I would go say for 6 and 7, Omar Elaban, this
He's
guy,
been cooking. That kid, that dude. Oh my goodness.
yeah, he competes well. He's very funny because I was talking to him, I was a Canadian cop, and I was talking to him, and like no shade to Omar, but he'd be a terrible coach because he does everything right, but he couldn't tell you how or why it works. He just like, yeah, it just like works. Like you just I listen to him talk and sometimes I'm like, that seems weird. But then in like practice, he has very good habits. Like he has good habits, he competes well, he has good mindset. Like it's just like he describes it in a very kind of unique way. But no, he's good. And like I was watching, he does a lot of 7. He's one of the only people I was like, maybe a 7 is pretty good. Where I'm like, I like he's gunning to be then that low 140 range, probably sub 140 average for sure at some point. So I think Max and him will take 1, 2, and 6 and 7, and then I'd probably pick Jack after for 6 and 7, and then Maddie will take 5. I think. How fast is Omar at 5? He's pretty good at 5 too.
He's got a 42 average right now, 42.5.
Yeah, 5 will be pretty interesting because yeah, Maddie, Omar, Jack should be pretty tight. Arhan's pretty good too. I think Omar, Maddie, Jack, and Arhan are pretty good wash there. And Maddie is a little better, but he should be pretty good. I think it's
My
still likely Maddie Omar.
my Maddie stocks are like, I don't know what I think about Maddie's future because, like, from talking to him, he barely practices right now, and yet he's still really good. So I don't know if that means that he's gonna decline, or if that means he's just super good, and as soon as he turns it on before a major, he's gonna be right back in it.
I think he'll be fine.
Okay.
First, he's a freshman in college. Big first year. He's gone all over the place. He's a busy guy. He's got a month. He'll probably get 2 months off before NAC. Like maybe he's not going to be faster, but he'll get into shape and he'll show up. He competes well. He'll put
Okay.
down some good times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Who in the world do you think is like? You mentioned Omar. Not a lot of people talk about him right now, at least that I'm aware of. I know Henry is in the conversation for an up and comer. Who else in the Big Cube scene is up and coming right now, or that other people could learn from? Because Big Cubes is a weird event where I feel like top solvers don't learn from each other as much as smaller events, just because the nature of the event is that solutions are a little bit more like people don't film in such a way that it's easy to see what they're doing or how.
Yeah. So like who to like learn from?
Who's up and coming that you think is like slept on right now? And who has solving styles that you think are really, really nice? Either the solutions are good or there's something about what they do that other people could learn from.
Yeah, I know Omar is definitely the up and comer. I kind of say Henry, but he did get third at Worlds last year, so like
Not
I don't
really
know
up
how.
and coming anymore.
I don't think you'd be an up and comer if you're Henry anymore. Jack will be doing well this summer. He did well. He did well at Nats last year though. So Omar is definitely the one who's his ratio. Omar's ratio of skill to notoriety is extremely unbalanced, and so that's so is by far my number one pick. Um, who to watch? Like people do not film properly. Like there's just yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of content. Like I mean, Mark Zimmerman, if you're into Redux, has like he is the new school Redux. Like actually all the tricks, all the optimizations, everything is clean and proper and the solutions are good. So like Zimmerman is there's a clear example for Redux and Zimmerman. But for Yao, like who is like filming properly and like giving you good stuff? Because like you can go watch Taman's 31-second average like 8,000 times, which I've already done. That was crazy. But like people don't film like Taman just like filming like some like an average of 12 or something would be helpful. Like 6 and 7, like Nam even like Nam is usually pretty good solutions, but I'm like, does he film? Lim is Lim films, but he kind of is a TPS burner, so I don't know if his solution.
Yeah, Lim is one where he films, but I don't know that I want to learn from him.
I also would agree. Sorry, Lim, but he seems a little too much. He's like a little TPS burner versus like Nam and Taman seem very like much cleaner solved, especially. I mean, like Taman on 5x5 is crazy. Like I've never seen someone turn so fast and have it be earned. Um, so yeah, it's unfortunate right now that Yao. Also, like I don't know anything about Yao. I watch people like tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I'm like, Omar told me like nothing. He's like, or I was Doquan because he goes to UW now. He watched me. He's like, oh, you're just pausing too much, and I'm like. Okay, well, I know that. Like, there's got to be like, I just learned this. Like, I got to be doing something terrible. He's like, it seems okay. Just like, don't pause. And I'm like, okay, not a coach.
Yeah, yeah. It that is definitely something where um I've gotten a couple of very fast people to give advice on my solves, and you have to ask, I have to like lead them into coaching advice sometimes
Yeah.
because otherwise I just get that. The knowledge is in there. I just have to be like, okay, so I'm going to hold this up in this situation, assuming I have good turning and no pauses, and my finger tricks are good on this color when the sun is in this position at 4:30 p.m. What should I do? And then this like, oh, well, you could do this, skip into this optimization, like, and oh, cool, I can learn that. Shout out Jack Pfeiffer though, he was really good. When I got coaching with him, and Mark Zimmerman as well was really good. Dude, freaking Mark, I sent him an overhead video of one 7x7 solve. he spent like 8 hours frame by framing the whole thing. And he sent me a document that was almost 40 pages with like screenshots and like drawings on every picture, like circling stuff and being like, well, you could do this solution, but if you did this alternate one, minus this one. And you can see from the frame here that like 8 turns later, this piece is actually located on the underside right. Like that was crazy. That was crazy. So Mark was really helpful.
Yeah,
Jack was pretty helpful too.
Mark has great stuff. And like, it's just kind of the thing where like getting like the problem is like extracting the information from people who are like good, because
Mhm.
sometimes they don't even know what they're doing or why it's good. Sometimes they kind of do, but they don't like know how to package it. And like, this is where just like coaching is like so valuable. Of like, the ideal in this scenario is like, you ask Mark for like 40 pages of information. Like, that's not actually like, you can't inhale that in one session. Like, you got to pick a couple of things. You'd have like, you get your coach to go get the 40 pages of info, and then your coach uses that to make like a training plan for like, this is what we're going to work on, and then this, and then this.
Yeah, dude,
And
I
then,
had to like take that and like take notes on it like 3 times to like
yeah.
distill it and then be like, I'm only going to work on these things for the next 30 solves. And then I went back to it like 3 days later. I was like, now I'm going to think about this. And then now I'm going to think about, and it was so helpful. It took me from like 320 to like 3 flat sub 3.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Like,
with his advice, just with that one solve of analysis.
yeah, there's so much stuff in like everything. And like, yeah. So it would be nice to see some, yeah, Tamon, if you're listening, just do some big cube
Please,
overhead.
please. Come on. Okay, cool. Well, yes, we will beg Timon. Please film more of your solves. I noticed with his 4x4, he does wide D moves in edge pairing seamlessly.
Oh, that's what you're supposed
Is
to do,
that
apparently.
is that like optimal? He's the only one that I've found doing it in my slow-mo analysis. But
This,
he will like alternate between like full rotations and like insert into wide D with his middle finger, and it's crazy.
yeah, well, like, because YD is the same as UY or whatever, the other one with a rotation. So, like, theoretically, and I'm sure he's doing it right, is you just do YDs to save rotations in the correct spots, which
Yeah.
seems right.
I just don't understand where the correct spots are. Timon, if you're watching, please, dude. One
I'm sure it's
walkthrough solved reconstruction is all I ask.
I'm sure it's on his QB GG.
It's not though. He doesn't
Oh,
offer
God.
coaching.
Okay.
Anyway, you you is your longevity as a competitor something that just kind of comes because you can't put the cube down and like you retired but you can't stop practicing kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not very good anymore, so, like, I don't know if that.
Dude, you are too very like your comparison is like being a dominant number 1. Like you've been podiuming at nationals like every year. You podiumed the last nationals. You are still really good.
Okay, I don't know what everyone else is doing. Come on, guys. Like, but, like, I mean, it's mostly just carryover, I guess. Like recently, I have actually been trying to actually get faster recently, and it's been difficult because I have a lot of bad habits from years of just like kind of mindless solving and like burning turns. So that
Like
was
what? What's one of the habits that it's like this sucks, I have to get rid of it, but it's not going anywhere?
burning turns and not like so. Like, do you know? If you watch like Nam or Taman and they're doing a solve, like they turn very fast. But the key is they only turn very fast when it's like appropriate and like they know what piece is coming next. And like, so like making sure you're not looking at the piece you're solving so you can turning at a speed that allows you to look ahead properly and not look at the piece you're currently solving. And then having the self control to like pause when you don't see anything and look that, like, is pretty standard and, like, what you learn from a coach and, like, very clear cut in a lot of these top solvers, and they don't think about doing that, but because I have all these bad habits of, like, just turn faster, like, and just do UI, like, it's taken some more like, that's a bad habit, like, doing solves I've done a lot of solves where, like, I'm just kinda mindless, like, if you I'm sure you've heard the phrase like practice makes permanent, or like, "Oh, I'm not feeling very good, I'm gonna do more solves, and then I develop these bad habits. I'm cubing when I don't feel good. Like, I also have gotten poorer at competing because I haven't relearned how to compete when I don't have the confidence that like I'm gonna win anymore. And so I've been working on that. Like it's just a lot of skills that like didn't necessarily translate one to one from when I was like doing really well. And so I've kind of had to relearn those and like really been focusing on not practicing when I don't feel good, only focusing on our practice. Like, I think building that cubing scrambling robot was like the main thing. Well, it was a fun thing to do, but also I'm like,
I was
my
gonna
hand.
ask about that. I wanted to hear about this. Like, when did you start that project?
Oh, it took like
For
2 months.
context, for anybody who has not seen this video, Kevin has like a Lego robot that can scramble his big cubes for him, and it's the coolest thing ever. Like you don't need Chinese parents if you have Kevin's Lego robot. You just like and it gives you the cube back.
Yeah, I realized I wanted to do that before it was like after Worlds. I was like, why am I scrambling my own cube? I feel like this is doable. And then I saw a design online. There was a slower version of it. And then I was like, okay, I'll just build this, see how it goes. It was not as hard as I thought, which is crazy. I mean, took a couple months, a lot of R&D, a lot of iterations and stuff, but it was a fun project. Like just build the whole thing with Lego and then a couple 3D printed parts and then some stepper motors as the controller. But like I could not believe I just like it worked and then I turned it up as fast as I could and I was like, it hasn't broken yet. Okay, I guess it's like and then it was like the speed I wanted it to run at just worked and I was like, okay, sweet. So like I know it was a fun project. Like that took 2 months about to get to like a version that works for practicing. So um That's like that's if you're young, you don't need it for your hands, but, like, it's kinda
Yeah.
something that, like, in bet why am I s you shouldn't even do a solve, especially on these big cubes where, like, it takes a lot of mental energy to do one solve, like, don't even do a solve if you're not, like, focused, and you're not, like, doing something deliberate, like and that was just a huge problem for me. I have the cubes right by my desk, I just pick one up, I do, like, 3 solves, "Oh, I'll do a mean of 3. Oh, I didn't get a good one, I'll do another one." It's like, "What are we doing?" Like, I'm building these terrible habits, and then, like, also just helps me, like, if I'm doing comp sim, which I'm doing way more of, because for now, at least, my at-home time is like, the issue with me getting a good result is not that I'm not capable of it, I just need to, like, actually compete well, and so, having that,
Yeah.
taking breaks, like, really playing, like I play, like, ambient mall music, like, just white noise, crowd sound, like, during if I'm really try-harding at home and stuff, like, so, like, these are, like, the big things of, like, I just need to
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think I
I've
think
been
it's fun.
making a I've been making a timer. I've been my learning project for getting capable with codecs and Claude Code has been making a timer website. And one of my things is I wanted a comp simulator where you can like have a randomized time interval between when you finish scrambling and when it allows you to start inspection and different
Yeah.
background noises and all those sort of things. And it's helpful. It's really cool.
Yeah, you should program in, like for whatever you're gonna do, depending on the event, program in, like, random RNG for, like, louder reactions or, like, applause for your stuff
That's a
or
good idea. That's a good
yeah,
idea. I'll send you the timer after this, and that way you can test it. People who
that'd
are
be fun.
listening, this will be a public thing soon-ish. I'm still working out bugs and making sure that I'm not, making some sort of repository that dumps your private information on the internet. But
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
Yeah, that'd be fun because like, this is something that, like, cubers really don't spend enough time doing is actually well, like, actually practicing the parts of cubing they don't like. Like, it's just like, I just wanna do 10,000 solves at home, but, like,
Yes. Yep.
I asked oh my god, I asked the top like, a very like, a top 20 cuber, um 'cause they were talking to me about, like, competition results and, like, "Oh, how do you, like, do better at comp?" And I was like, "Okay, well, when was the like, have you been doing comp sim at home?" And they were like, "I've been trying to do more." And I'm like, "That's like when you're at the dentist." And they're like, "You've been flossing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been trying to do
Yeah, bro.
more."
Trust me. I've been ignore the blood that's all over my
Yeah.
gums right now. I've been flossing. I promise.
It's like, okay, well, it's not surprising when you go to a comp and you do bad at the skill that you have not practiced a single time
Mm-hmm.
for the last
Yep.
2 months,
Yep.
like That that it's actually expected. So it's a it's definitely like having tools that make it easier and just like to integrate because there's just a lot of it just takes some effort to like set it up. And if there was no effort, I think people would just do it more, which is nice.
Yeah. Dude, the random reactions is such a good suggestion. I have had 4 rounds where Max broke a world record sitting next to me,
Wait, really?
and it just, like, ruins your soul because, like, there's, like, 200 people just, like, crowded around your station, just, like, who are ready to implode the second he finishes his solve. Um, that's a really good suggestion.
I was gonna say most of the time, if you're at like a local and Max it's a world record sitting next to you, like I'm pretty strict on the no extras thing, but like that is not I'd probably be
That
like,
one
"That's
that
fine."
one was one there was one 5x5 round where I literally, like, stopped the timer because I was scared. Like, it was like this it was like a big San Diego competition, It was in a ballroom that probably had like 450, 500 people, and about half the venue came up to watch Max solve, and he broke the average. And it was like, because everyone had been like, keeping track up to that
Yeah, yeah.
point too. So that one was one where the delegates just went around to every person. They were like, extra, 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 extra. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there were a couple of times where it's just like, okay, yeah, I mean, this is not part of the
Yeah,
normal
yeah, yeah,
competition vibe. It's fine. Yeah.
exactly. On that note, are there any regulations that you're like, for things to mature, change this? Like the extra one, when the extra with Pyraminx guy from Georgia,
Oh,
whose
yeah.
name escapes me right now. I
Keon.
am Keon, yes. You were like, we need to be professional about our extras, and we had a system at All Stars that I thought was really cool. So that's one regulation, obviously, that's
Yeah.
like gray area. Are there other regs right now where you're like, to mature things at majors, X, Y, or Z should change or improve?
Well, Miss Scrambles just got fixed.
Yeah.
Thank you, WRC. Um, reg stuff, like, not like, there isn't really anything that's like really that stands out. I don't think right now is like really big problems. Right now, I'm like, I need to make sure there's no problems, but I do think I'd like to see more flexibility. Like a big thing, this is more of like a kind of an advancement type thing because I don't think there's problems. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Miss Scrambles is my whole brain for like a couple months.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but like a common complaint about the new best of five blind format was that like it's not the best representation of skill at for deciding like a world championship, which this is not something like I'm not gonna tell you what the best representation of skill is. Like I can my blind time's like 3
Yeah.
minutes. But like if all the best blinders in the world are telling you it's a bad idea, might be a bad idea. And I'm not saying that like in best of five is fine for probably 99% of competitions, but like maybe we should have the flexibility to do a different format at majors. Like, there's no, this is not personal bias, obviously, but there's no reason that can't just do average of five for 6 and 7 at like world champs, like to take like 5 extra minutes. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's a like these are simple ones where like it just wouldn't be that big of a deal, but like it's something that's like kind of the nature of the WCA. Like you get constrained to like everyone doing exactly the same thing, and then as you get bigger, saying one size fits all is like just not
Mhm.
true anymore.
Yeah, yeah, heard. Okay. Any other topics that you want to talk about that we haven't touched on yet? I've kind of been driving for most of this.
Oh yeah. I don't think too much. Like I've talked about a lot, I guess.
Perfect.
You're big on is like I've watched like a decent amount of your channel stuff and like improvement stuff. Like general tip, that's like you mentioned made it's like I should make a Tuesday tip, but like I'll just throw this in. Like the biggest thing I see, and I've talked about this on stream, is like if you want to get a lot better, especially if you're having trouble competing, is like just like taking accountability for like your results is like so huge. And like
Mhm.
the way I mean that specifically is like I see a lot of kids like how you talk about yourself and your results in fact like affects your mindset. And like there's a huge difference between saying, oh, like my BPA was this and I just messed up the last solve. So like, like if I got BPA of like this versus which is like, okay, dude, like you didn't like what? Like you got a bad solve. Like you
Yeah,
did
yeah.
bad. Like that's not helpful. Like that is reinforcing to yourself that like, oh, I should have gotten this, but like, like whatever. I should have gotten that, so I'm just gonna be fine. Like that's just like you're not gonna do any change. Like nothing's gonna change. You're just gonna be the exact same thing next time. But what could be helpful is like, oh wow, I got like BPA of 6.5, which is PR, but like on that last solve, my heart rate was really high and I got really nervous. And then I was a little shaky and because I was nervous, I like jammed the last turn. I got a +2 and I messed up. Like, and it's like, okay, so next time, like we're going to go home, we're going to practice this situation. We're going to force ourselves to be nervous at home. We're going to practice having our heart rate high. And so like, that's super helpful. That leads to change. That helps you be better. Like really, when you talk about your results and are like everything is under your control, except in some obviously rare
Yeah, yeah,
circumstances.
100%.
Yeah. Like this is all under your control. Like, let's talk about things in a way that's gonna like help you get better as a cuber, as opposed to
Yep, yep.
like just because you have an average of 10,000 at home, that's like 7.5. Like
Doesn't
that,
matter.
it
Does
doesn't
not
mean
matter.
anything. Like, what is your global? Like, people ask your global, I'm like, I don't even know. Who cares? Like, I don't care. Like, what's gonna happen when I sit down in this chair? Like, have I been practicing this? Like, that's what matters. Like, because
Mhm.
at the end of
Yep.
the day, like people like BPA is the one that just like I see and I'm like,
You know, there's a stat that I love around this. In the NFL, there's like a single statistic where if this one thing is true, the team has an above 80% likelihood of being in the playoff. And it's the top, I think it's the top half. No, it's if you're in the top 10% of red zone conversions. If you're in
yeah,
a certain number of yards of the end zone, like, and you're in the top 10 in the league or something like that, for that one thing, well over 80% of those teams make the playoff every year. And this is consistent across a super long time. Like if you can close when you're in the end zone, when you're in the red zone, like you win the game.
yeah,
When the lights are on, can you put down the last one?
yeah.
Who do you think does this the best in cubing?
Timon.
Timon. I was gonna say it has to be Timon. Like you can't, like the one world record where he gets the extra. You can't beat that.
It's like not even close. Like the kid's ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
I talk a lot about this stuff. There are some people where if I was their coach, I'd be like, I'm not, you do it, just do whatever you're doing. I'm not even going to touch it. Like, just if something goes wrong, we could talk about it. But like, you just be doing whatever you're doing. Like, he came out to you to 4-5 final, or like, I forget. Maybe it was right after. He was like, oh, Kevin, like, oh, no, when's right before 5 finals? I feel like I'm going to throw up. Like, I feel so bad. I feel like, I'm like, and then like, he goes up and like,
And breaks the world record.
break world record. And like, he's like someone who like feeds off the crowd and like, it's like, oh, like I was on a stream station. I don't like that. I need to like, so good. Like, there are some people who like just kind of, this is like, like, I don't understand it. Like some people just kind of have it. Like, especially in this like really focused, like crowd energy mode, like some people just kind of have it and like, good for them. Like, I think most of us need to work on it. And it's a skill that can be worked on absolutely. But like, I'm not saying Timon doesn't like, I'm sure he works on this like quite a lot, but also just like, he's a combination, like he's so good at it. Like it's a combination of naturally having this like factor and then also working on it a lot.
Yeah. I love in the video when he breaks the world record on the extra attempt, you can see at like 2.1 in the solve, he just gets this little smile. Like he already knows. Like halfway through 12, he's just like, I got it. I did it.
I mean, yeah. And that's usually when most people would mess up because they're like, oh, I'm going to get
Yeah,
it. But
exactly. But he's just like, I have it. I know already.
he knows he's going to get it. And
Yeah.
it helps that, yeah, he's been in this situation, not to that extent, like so many times and he always gets it. Like it kind of compounds on itself, but like it's impressive stuff.
Yeah. And that is the defining thing for what makes a cuber. Like I was talking to Anthony Paterakis a couple of pods
Oh,
ago.
yeah. I was watching like
And he was like, I think I have the longest streak of BPA, of world record BPA without getting a world record of anyone in the WCA. And that's brutal. But that's exactly what you're saying is at the end of the day, it's hard to make a case for that statistic mattering as crushing as it is.
Yeah. Like if you get the 4.5 average is a 4.5 average if it was WPA or BPA. It's exactly the same thing. And like these are great tools to tell you what you need to work on and how this is gonna like how to improve. But like at the end of the day, you gotta take accountability for your times and like know what you need to fix and then work on it because yeah, like it's a little annoying because I think as cubers, we love doing 10,000 solves and then just being like, I should get this. But that is not how it works. And if you're someone who really does want to like perform well and be on these stages and do well, you have to understand that like there is another element to doing this and it's something that you need to work on.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well then if there's nothing else that you want to touch on.
I don't think so. We've been going for a long time. I'm like, sorry if I was like super rambling.
This is great. I've been having a blast. I've wanted to interview you for a long time. Like, when I got into cubing a long time ago, the first video that made me just like I got to grind. It was the you and Felix racing at Worlds 2013 was the video that really was like, holy cow, I want to get better.
He got me by a lot on that one, didn't he?
Yeah, he crushed you. I was like, who's this Kevin guy? Oh wait, he's actually pretty good. Felix is a man. Cool. Well, I end all of these on the same question. I ask everybody, what aspect of cubing gives you the deepest joy?
What aspect of queuing gives me deepest joy? Like right now or like
Yeah, right now. Current Kevin.
um right now. I guess like I mean it's definitely yeah, I mean it's definitely the interactions with that I have with the competitors at the top at like Worlds and All Stars specifically. Like the interactions with kids, or well, I call them the kids because I'm 31 and they're like 22. But like the interactions I have where I kind of like see myself in different ways in different people, and like I am work very hard to make sure that like their experience is validated by the competition, and then getting the feedback that like they do appreciate it, and that like they they had a good time, or like that felt like validated, that like they got their shot on stream, or they had their big moment, like generating like I want to like generate those big moments for everyone that they've earned, and then like hearing the feedback that like it's appreciated is definitely like the thing I appreciate most now.